You're listening to His Empire of Dirt by Pearlandpine. Chapter 13. Michael Afton discovers William and Henry loathe each other. As told in several acts, in the perspective of one Michael Fritz Smith Afton. Setting: William Afton's apartment. Interior. Cast: Michael Afton as Fritz Smith, William Afton as himself, Henry Emily as himself. Act 1. The first argument. Mike manages to buy a few things for himself at the local shop. Really, just the bare essentials: blankets, some clothes, a toothbrush and toothpaste, and the crux of it all, packs of gum. Because he isn't sure how long he'll be here. He thinks that it was only a few seconds that he was in the ball pit the first time, because otherwise his father would have killed him in there, and that allowed him more than 2 days. Minutes could equate to months. He's pretty sure that his barricade will hold the animatronic back for the meantime, but really, at any moment, he could open his eyes and be burning alive. He doesn't want to think about that. He must be here for a reason. Luck has quite literally never been on his side, so maybe it will turn in his favor, just this once. His father needs to stay out, and he needs to stay in the past. If those two things do not occur, then they lose, and Mike cannot handle that. He thinks if he loses one more time, he'll just about implode. He's been put on the schedule for 5 days a week, and he's initially crestfallen at this, but it turns out William and Henry are in class when he works, and they all get home relatively around the same time. The real kicker, though, is that William goes on dates at night. Like, constantly. Mike can't handle it. Really, it's not fair. The two of them just look so alike, and Mike hardly got any dates at his father's age. Well, both their ages, but Mike feels, and technically is, decades older than the college students. In the first week of living in the apartment, his father comes home late 6 out of the 7 days of the week. And 5 of those 6, he is utterly intoxicated, fiddling his keys into the lock and chuckling to himself. He'll smoke a cigarette in celebration as he leans against the door, raising his eyebrows at Mike and telling him of his escapades. With a gross realization, Mike realizes that before Dad got married to Mom, he was kind of a whore. Those are all at night, however. During around dinner time, in which all 3 boys are present, Mike studies. Well, he studies his father and his uncle, and really, he's shocked to learn what their dynamic is. They fucking detest each other. Mike remembers at one Thanksgiving, Uncle Henry was laughing, reminiscing about college, the good old days. One of the few times in which Dad earnestly chuckled in reply. "Oh, Mike, you'll never believe it, but me and your old man used to drive each other crazy." Mike had thought that meant the two of them had gotten in their fair share of squabbles, and maybe argued about dinner or bedtime. Instead, Mike is sure that if looks could kill, both of them would be 6 feet underground. It started off innocently enough. Henry accidentally brushed past William in the kitchen, to which the former immediately started profusely apologizing, and the latter staring daggers at him, as if he'd broken a barrier of trust just by touching him. William would make snide comments. "What, you can't figure out Rubinstein's work this week? It's an introductory course, Emily." And Henry would brush them off, reddening. Henry would constantly wear flannels or just a plain tee, and William would dress in lavender button-downs, and the two of them would make backhanded compliments at each other's outfits. "Dressed to impress again?" "You look particularly comfortable in that, Emily." Both Henry and William end up privately consulting with Michael, saying something along the lines of, "This guy, right, Fritz?" Mike finds that Henry enjoys his company because, well, he's not William. And William enjoys his company because he's not Henry. Well, Henry also loves showing Mike his designs, and Mike at a few points offers some drawing tips, and William adores complaining about people, just in general, to Mike. It's odd to have two entire friends, but it's not unwelcome. At the same time, though, Mike is constantly caught in the middle. Well, that was how it started. The next week, things escalated. Mike and Henry are in Henry's bedroom. Mike dodges Fredbear's gaze, constantly and always. When William barges in, accusingly pointing at Henry. "You touch my things!" he sneers, and Henry innocently shakes his head, his eyes still trained on Fredbear's endoskeleton as he tinkers with it. "I've got no clue what you're talking about." "Oh, shut it, Emily. You couldn't figure out the damn equation, so you looked through my things. 'Cause unlike you, I actually know what I'm doing." Henry's hands fall from the socket he's toying with, his muscles just slightly tensing. "I did not look through your things, Afton." "Yeah? Well, then who did? A damn ghost?" "Maybe you simply forgot." "I don't forget, Emily." "Fritz, I didn't look through his things, did I?" William glares at Mike on the floor, and Mike swallows and hesitantly shakes his head. "No, I don't think you did." William huffs an annoying hair out of his face and rolls his eyes. "Well, it's not like he follows you around like a lapdog. You could have done it while he was at work." "I don't know how much I have to say to convince you that—" "Oh, go to hell, Emily." "Don't say that!" Henry barks. And both William and Mike hold their breaths at the advent of the Henry Emily raising his voice to a shout. "Don't you say that to me!" "Oh, of course someone like you would believe in that nonsense," William drawls. And when he's satisfied with Henry's aggravated expression, he turns on his heel and exits the room. Shit. Mike knew his dad was a monster, but he didn't know he was such a fucking douchebag, too. Act 2. Intro to Psychology. The argument that William and Henry had permeates throughout the apartment for the next 3 days, and the two refuse to speak to each other. It is in these couple of days that Mike deduces a few things about his father and uncle that would perhaps impress his high school psychology teacher. But no one else. Henry Emily's psychology. He's sadder than he lets on. When no one is looking, he frowns. When he is not in front of an endoskeleton, his movements are more sluggish, less coordinated. He truly does understand machinery more than people. There are some arguments in which William is actually in the right. Henry being too loud, tinkering at night. Henry entirely disrespecting others' personal space. Henry complaining about William a bit too loudly when he intends to be secretive. That makes Mike believe that Henry Emily would much rather be in the company of Freddy and the gang than in the presence of people. Henry is awkward, around girls especially, but he does not seem to find fault with it, at least not externally. Henry Emily is insistent, at least altruistically. He tries to coerce Mike to go to church with him, but at least respects Mike's ambitions not to. On the other hand, he seems hell-bent with the belief that, though he doesn't like William, he never wants him to go to hell. Going to hell is probably the worst thing that could ever happen to a person. Don't keep the devil waiting, old friend. Henry Emily has the innate need to impress everyone around him. And even if he doesn't admit it, he needs to impress William more than anyone. William Afton's psychology. Again, he goes on a lot of dates, but otherwise he doesn't let people touch him. Mike thinks date nights are the only time he receives any physical intimacy from anyone, and perhaps it is because of the guarantee that he is the strongest one there. And unlike Henry and Mike, his dates will never be able to hurt him. He looks at himself all the time. At first, Mike had rolled his eyes at this, but after a while, he realizes that it's not out of narcissism. Instead, William drags a hand across his dark circles as if to erase them. He works out in his bedroom and then stares blankly at himself in the bathroom mirror for minutes on end. Once, Mike caught him with his shirt off, studying himself like a painting that is guaranteed to have a flaw. With this, Mike realizes that his father is forever chasing away that pathetic little kid that got beat on by his old man. He hates untidy things. If a single article of clothing is on the floor, or the couch gets pushed a millimeter out of place, William corrects it. He scolds Mike on more than one occasion for leaving a dirty pan in the sink, and he snaps at Henry whenever he tracks dirt into the place. It is with this tiny apartment that William Afton erects his first temple, and he will have it perfect, no matter what. It is perhaps the only thing in his life that he can control. William Afton has the innate need to be the best person in the room, because if he isn't, no one else will tell him so. He cannot trust anyone else, cannot truly love anyone else, and he will never confide in a soul, because his secrets are for him, even if someone tries to beat them out of him. It is with this that Mike is mystified, that William is honest with him at all. But then he remembers that William thinks the both of them are exactly alike. And of course, William Afton would only be candid with a clone of himself. Therefore, with these few observations, Henry Emily and William Afton are entirely distinct from one another. Thus, they grow to despise each other. Act 3. The Eruption. It's the third week of living in the apartment. Mike only sees Clara at work, and hasn't seen Isabella since. They're all too busy, and Mike detests mundane things for getting in the way of his mission, and getting in the way of having a normal life, ironically. After one of his shifts, though, Isabella and Henry are speaking outside of the apartment complex.
"Oh, Fritz, have you met Isabella Barnett?"
Yeah, I have, actually. Good to see you, Isabella. Just Bella, she corrects, but she gives Mike a small hug regardless. You've been quite the stranger, you know. The implication is obvious, even to Mike. How the hell is the mission coming with you setting us up with your roommates that despise each other? Sorry, I know. Work's been busy.
Yeah, Clara said so. Let's get together at the end of the month, why don't we? That sounds great, Henry says,
A bit too quickly. His face a bit too red.
I've got your number from earlier. Are you sure you can get home all right?
I'm sure I'm not senile. Ashton's seminars might make me so, though.
Henry and Isabella awkwardly chuckle alongside each other. And she looks like she wants to hug him goodnight. But instead, she just walks away. At the same time, William crosses the sidewalk, his book bag slung over his shoulder. He doesn't regard Isabella at all, even when she offers him a small wave. He purposefully knocks into Henry's shoulder on his way into the apartment. And when they're alone, Henry scowls.
I don't know why he hates me so much. Why would he let me move in when he was planning on treating me like this?
He's a sociopath and a sadist, you idiot. No idea, Mike says with a shrug.
Oh, I swear, Fritz, if you didn't live here, I would have moved out by now.
Mike's heart stutters. That's bad. Very bad. Henry can't move out. Henry has to be a part of the story. He's perhaps the most important player, Mike thinks. Who else would be the one that could finally terminate William Damn Afton? Mike has to fix this. When they enter the apartment together, Henry's bedroom door is open, and William's backpack is right beside the doorway. Henry storms in, and William is tinkering with Fredbear. Oh, fuck, Mike thinks. Because if there's something to make Henry mad, it is precisely what William is doing right now.
What are you doing?
Henry demands.
Fixing your crap,
William says between gritted teeth.
This damn thing is always constantly whirring, even at night. It is driving me bloody insane. You get away from him!
Henry grabs William on the shoulder and jerks him away, but William shrugs him off and he gets back to the task.
Him?
William scoffs and chuckles.
What, Freddy is your only friend?
I can't imagine anyone else would want to put up with you.
Stop touching him! Whatever. And you accuse me of going through your things.
I know you did. Stop denying it. Look, see? He's already better.
You ought to just drop the major, Emily. You hardly know a wrench from a bolt with the way you work. Henry reddens, and he pushes William, his face instantaneously succumbing to regret. William narrows his eyes and pushes him back, and they are far too irate with each other to allow Mike a single word in.
Keep out of my room.
It's my damn apartment. I'll do what I please.
All you ever do is what you please. Coming home at 1 a.m, walking around like you're the king of the world. You hardly act human, Afton.
I am so sorry that someone as inept as you cannot comprehend how to take care of themselves.
Why are you so damn cruel? Oh, I've got an idea. I call my folks every day, and you don't get a single call. What? Mommy and Daddy couldn't put up with their asshole son?
With this, the room stills, and even Henry seems to realize that he's crossed a line. Though it's not as if the line did not deserve to be leapt over. William's eye twitches, and his face morphs into a deranged smile, and he almost doubles over in laughter.
William, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have...
You're fucking pathetic, you know that. William can barely choke the words out through his maddened laughter. After a few agonizingly quiet moments, quiet aside from William's chuckles, he straightens his back. Then, with the force of the devil, he brings his arm back, and he socks Henry in the jaw.
Say it again, Emily. I fucking dare!
Mike yelps as Henry recovers and tackles William to the ground. The bed shakes with the fight, and after tussling on the ground, William manages to get the upper hand. He looks like he wants to damn well choke the life out of Henry, but before he can raise his hands to do so, Henry rockets his elbow into Will's mouth.
Shit!
William stumbles and falls against the closet door. He brings his hand to his lip and touches blood. His tongue moves in his mouth, and his eyes widen with shock and anger. He pushes past Henry and Mike and marches into the bathroom.
You chipped my tooth, you bloody idiot!
Oh, shit, Mike says, and Henry's as pale as a ghost.
I didn't mean to,
he says a bit too loudly, because it seems like he only meant to say it to Mike.
He damn punched me! Freeze!
Mike immediately rushes to the bathroom, not wanting to incur any of his father's wrath. William's hand is bloody from his lip, and he's lifting his upper lip in an effort to examine the site.
Freeze, be honest. How awful is it?
If Mike's being honest, he can't see a damn thing. The chip is so minuscule that it might as well not be there. However, it blemishes the perfection that William had been working on, so it might as well have been a massive scar across his face. You look fine, I promise.
No, I look bloody awful!
He keeps staring at the chip, as if it will go away with direct eye contact.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill him! No!
Mike blurts, and he almost covers his mouth as soon as the word leaves his lips. William barely turns to him, his eyes blaring with anger.
No, I mean, it was an accident. And you did kinda punch him after touching Fredbear. Oh, you're on his side then?
William chuckles to himself as he wipes blood from his mouth.
Well, be very happy together. I want him out by the end of the damn week.
William marches into his bedroom and slams the door so hard that it rattles on its hinges. Mike turns and looks to Henry. Ah, crap, the both of them say in unison. Act 4. Friendship and other stupid things.
William, I said I was sorry.
William interjects Henry with a deadly stare. It's the next morning, and Mike hardly got a wink of sleep all night, listening to William pace back and forth throughout his bedroom, muttering to himself.
William, please, I don't have anywhere else to go.
Should have thought about that then. Before he can help it, Henry furrows his eyebrows and shakes his head.
You touched Fred. You hit me. I'm sorry for what I said, and I'm sorry about your tooth, but you have been needlessly cruel.
You've been a needless fucking buffoon.
Shut up!
William and Henry both turn to stare at Mike with bewildered expressions. Mike can't fucking stand their squabbling any further. It keeps him up at night, and worse, it gets in the way of his damn plan. He can hardly get Dad to be decent when even his best friend hates him. Could you two get your heads out of your asses and just fucking speak like normal human beings?
Fritz!
Henry begins, but Mike stomps over to the kitchen and grabs a wooden spoon and gestures to the couch with it. Couch! Now! He incessantly taps his foot against the floor. It has been nearly 4 whole weeks of entire arguments with him caught in the middle. He's not used to being an observer, and now he knows why. Maybe he's stupid, but these two are fucking idiots. William scoffs, but even he realizes the severity of the situation when Mike refuses to break eye contact. Begrudgingly, William and Henry sit on the couch, each on either end, as if they're allergic to each other. Henry's face is red, and William's is riled. Mom had done this a few times, sitting Liz and Mike down when both of them would get into a petty argument. Mike grabs a pillow from his bedroom, and then sits on the table parallel to the couch. Okay, Mike says, and he holds the spoon up in the air. This is the talking spoon. Out of the two of you, only the one holding the spoon can talk. We're getting to the bottom of this, because frankly, you are both driving me damn crazy. We're not children, Fritz. Mike interjects William by slapping him across the face with the pillow. After a few feathers fly, only an astonished face is left in their wake. William narrows his eyes and says, I really would urge you not to. Mike hits him with the pillow again. Fritz!
The rules are simple, Afton.
Mike hits Henry with the pillow, and William chuckles. Ready? Okay. Henry, you get the talking spoon first.
The hell does he get it first for? Stop doing that!
Stop fucking talking! Mike snaps in reply, and his heart lands in his throat, because he has wanted to scream that at his father so many times. And now, he finally has. With a dire stare, William finally quiets. Henry circles the hands of the spoon with his thumb and sighs.
I was really excited to move in. I thought you were very charming. And it was even better that we were the same major. I thought we'd be fast friends, but you've been nothing but cruel to me, and I don't understand it. I shouldn't have said what I said about your parents, but you shouldn't have touched my things. You won't accept my apology, and that's fine. But if you kick me out, I really don't have anywhere else to go. I really don't want to commute 3 hours just to go to school. Yeah.
He hands Mike back the spoon, and William reaches to snatch it from him, but Mike threatens him with the pillow. It is only when he pacifies that Mike hands him the spoon. Well, clutching the spoon tight, he folds his arms across his chest and tusks. I thought you'd be entertaining to have around, but you're a damn fool like the lot of Yanks here.
Don't you ever call me a Yankee.
Mike hits Henry with the pillow, and gestures for William to continue. You are just as ignorant as all the people here, Fritz excluded, and it drives me mad. You should be smarter than that. William, the talk spoon is also the truth spoon.
Oh, that's a load of rubbish.
Truth spoon. Be candid for once, all right? William huffs and stares at Mike before his shoulders minutely sag. You are very kind to me, and I'm not used to that. Your parents call all the time. You build wonderful things. He had something under his breath, and when Mike cocks the pillow once more, William repeats it, but he muffles the statement with his hand. He yelps when Mike hits him again, and finally, he drops his hand. I bloody despise you, Fritz. Henry, I am a tad, just a little jealous. Oh, Christ, this is ridiculous. You're jealous of me? Hello? He just spoke, didn't he? I'll allow it. Progress is being made. Honestly, Mike is just as flawed as Henry. Dad is jealous of someone? That would be impossible. You are too smart to believe in church and to not trust yourself. He drives me mad. I do trust myself. No, you don't. You don't raise your hand in class, and even though your calculations are only second to mine, you constantly erase your work. Hell, you've been working on Fredbear and haven't made any progress because you're damn scared of failure. William tosses the spoon beside Mike. And you're a prick for chipping my tooth. I really did like my smile, you know. I'm sorry. Henry rests his chin in his hands. I'm jealous of you too. I think you're so good at everything you do. And I've never been perfect at anything. I'm not confident. I'm not a charmer. I wish I was more like you. Except not as much of a prick. And I'm sorry about your tooth. Again. The room fills with silence. William starts tapping his foot against the floor, and Henry starts tapping his chin with his fingers. Mike then beams, and startles the both of them by clapping loudly. So, how was that? You're a damn masochist, Smith, William retorts, but a smile tugs at the edge of his mouth. Thank you, Fritz. Henry chuckles a bit. We probably would have killed each other if it weren't for you. Mike knows that isn't true. They would become best friends eventually, no matter what. But he can't help but feel a little bit victorious. Okay. You know what you two can do now? Christ, what? Old Anne's announced we're not going to kill each other to the Dean? Well, no. But first, shake hands. New alliance. New front of not driving Fritz Smith mad. Henry immediately turns and extends his hand. William rolls his eyes, but after a few seconds he returns the gesture. Great. Now, since you two are too daft to think of this in the first place, why don't you frickin' make something together? Something new. Something the both of you collaborate on and can be proud of. Well, William says, and he's blushing, hiding it with the palm of his hand, but blushing nonetheless. I hardly think we could even begin to agree on the schematics. I agree. With that, I mean. Mike wants to counter that time and time again they will agree on animatronics in the future, But of course, he can't. Instead, he folds his arms across his chest and he frowns. Yeah, well, I guess you two just aren't smart enough to. William straightens his back and squints at Mike. The hell does that mean? Well, you know, only the smartest of the bunch could really put aside their differences and make something fresh. I guess you two just aren't. Put a sock in you, Smith. Emily, get over here now. When Henry doesn't immediately rise, William groans and grabs him by the wrist, dragging him into the bedroom. He throws a sketchbook on the floor and points to it. We'll make the best goddamn thing since Edison invented the light bulb. Tesla, would both of you just shut the hell up? William scowls and gets to work, everything disappearing to him as he works on the floor. Henry reluctantly joins him there, and the two are muttering to each other. You are entirely hyperfixated on bears, Emily.
Fine. You pick one.
William's lips curl into a grin, but for once it's childish and whimsical. How about a rabbit? Despite the victory, Mike cannot help but think the past is repeating itself. Act 5. Michael Afton arrives early from work, to disastrous results. Henry has a date. It's not a date, he attests, planned with Isabella for the end of September. And Mike has convinced William to go on a date with Clara. Really, I was going to. I thought she would ask me is all. A few days later, things finally seem to go according to plan. Henry and William still bicker constantly, but it's more productive than before. There are no more physical altercations, and they spend their days sketching together an animatronic that Mike knows will become Spring Bonnie. They refer to Mike as their critic, and soon the apartment is a well-oiled machine, infallible and holy. Mike, for the first time in decades, feels safe. Every now and then, William exhibits behavior that Mike doesn't find scary, but does find abnormal. He laughs at awfully morbid things, and sometimes his gaze is distant, as if in a dream. Sometimes he mutters to himself, and other times he laughs at nothing. Mike makes a note to bring it up to Clara. Maybe there's something in her medical book that gives way to signs of possible psychopathy. Or maybe William is sick with something else, and helping him with that can pave the way to decency. William is still totalitarian, but Mike and Henry have been taken under the wing of totalitarianism, and they will reap the benefits the dictator sows. Mike is making dinner for the trio. He's not a good cook, but he's surprisingly gained some knowledge from Junior on a weekend as he watches William and Henry work in the corner of his eye. No, Henry, try like this, William offers, and his voice is no longer snarky as he taps Henry's homework with the point of his pencil.
A 0? Are you sure?
I'm sure. Trust me.
Okay, Will. Thank you.
Don't mention it. William excuses himself to smoke a cigarette in the hall. Both Mike and Henry have finally championed the idea of smoking outside the apartment, to tepidly successful results, depending on William's mood.
Hey, Fritz.
Henry walks over to the kitchen and nervously scratches the back of his head.
Could I ask you something?
Should.
I'm, interested in
Isabella?
Yeah, right, yes, Isabella. Do you think...
His shoulders sag, and he groans a bit into his palms.
She likes me back?
I'm sure. You get married after all.
Really?
Henry's eyes light up a bit.
I just... No one's ever been interested in me before. I've never felt this way about someone. She makes me feel... She makes me feel smart. And she makes me feel handsome. It's stupid. Never mind.
It's not stupid, Henry. Mike sets down his kitchen utensils and smiles upon his favorite person in the whole entire world. For the first time in his life, Mike can be there for Henry. Mike can give Henry the shoulder to lean on that he desperately needs. It's not stupid. If you've got someone that makes you feel like that, then don't let them go. It'll all end up okay. I promise.
Thanks, Fritz. I'm really glad we've become friends.
Henry smiles toothily.
I've never had a real friend before.
Mike's heart is abounding with timid joy. Me neither. William enters the apartment once more, snuffing out the embers of the cigarette with the sole of his shoe before he kicks them off. Mike looks down to the kitchen countertop, and in his peripheral vision, he swears to God William winks at Henry. It's probably nothing. Fuck. There's a fight happening on the other side of the door. Mike has gotten off his shift a few hours early, since the day has been slow and plagued with rain, and he comes home to this. As he reaches for his key, he hears Henry saying William's name, and his voice is gruff, and there's the sound of furniture scraping the floor. Crap, what the hell happened? Mike mutters to himself. They were doing so well. Maybe Henry's date tomorrow with Isabella triggered William's jealousy once more. Mike's gut tumbles as he prepares to intervene with the scuffle as he pushes the door open. What? Mike stops. He stares. Oh my God. Henry and William are on the couch. But holy shit, that's where the normalcy ends. William's shirt is off, fallen onto the floor, and he's lied on top of Henry. Henry's hands are gripping William's hips, and his glasses are foggy and his face is flushed. And William's mouth is pressed onto Henry's neck. And then everything freezes when they become aware of Mike's presence. Oh. Mike's throat is dry, and he thinks he could scream, because, ew, Dad and Uncle Henry aren't supposed to be intimate with each other. They're the best friends. They're the bestest best friends in the entire world until William murders Charlie and Henry burns him alive in return. What the fuck? What the fuck? Love, I'd never lie to you. Oh my fucking God, Henry and Dad were in love with each other. What the hell? Fritz! Henry panically looks to William, but William is the picture of tranquility. He steadily rises from the couch, scoops his shirt from the floor, and approaches Mike. Fritz, Let's go have a talk, shall we? William tosses on his shirt and grips Mike by the shoulder and escorts him to his own bedroom. He slams the door and shoves Mike up against the door. You didn't see anything. You both... Fritz. With his father's enraged face, Mike realizes that, crap, he's in the damn 50s. And, William doesn't know that Mike's his damn son. William is mad because he's been caught with a boy, not because he's been caught with Henry. I don't care, Mike blurts. But he does, of course, just for entirely different reasons. Of course you care, me too! His name was Jeremy. He realizes that it's the first time in years that Mike has said Jeremy's name. It was the correct thing to say, though, because anger leaves William's eyes, and his grip slacks. Oh. Well, I assumed. What the hell is that supposed to mean? But I wasn't sure. Of course, here's the time we live in, after all. Right. I'm sorry for walking in. He's fine. He's fine. I'm sure you won't be telling anyone, yeah? Yes. Secret is safe with me. Mike crosses his heart. his heart that won't stop beating, because this makes it all even worse. Dad betrayed the man he was in love with. Is there anyone that Dad won't take from? Good. Good. Glad we agree. Though they've come upon an alliance, nothing but hatred burns in Mike's heart. You love him. You love him, and you still did this to him. You betrayed him like that. How could you do that? Why do you have to be such a bastard? William smiles, though, and laughs a bit. Lad's got no clue what he's doing. It's damn adorable, really. I really am delighted to be someone's internally religious debate. He and God will have one hell of a talk about this one. He laughs harder and claps Mike on the shoulder and opens the door. His features soften, and he smiles. Thank you, Fritz. Means a lot. William exits. Holy fucking shit. Mike slides against the door, and his brain cannot decide between confusion, anger, hatred, or denial. So he settles on resting his head on the wall and repeating over and over, holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Finn.